Next letter is G, and for G, I want to do a grapefruit. And for this one, I think I want to do a whole grapefruit with kind of like a half, so we can see the pink inside, but also the whole thing in the background. So this is gonna be kind of like the rind here. I'm gonna make it a little heavier at the bottom so we can see a little bit of the outside, a little bit of the yellow skin down here. Okay. Just gonna do a little sketch here, mostly of this part. So I remember all the leave room for the different sections here. So there's this middle part, and then they come out like this, kind of like a flower. And there's not much room in between them. I'm drawing it as lightly as I can so I can still see it, and so the camera can see it, but so the pencil doesn't show up too much in my painting. Do one teeny little section here. Okay, and then I'm gonna erase that circle. That middle part will be white. Okay, so we need some yellows, a little bit of orange, and kind of a orangey pink. So let's get everything wet. Yellow, Vivian, and put some yellow out and put, we'll make orange. So put yellow out and then put yellow in another spot. So you have two yellows. See what I'm doing right here? I put some yellow there and I put some yellow here up in your tray. It does. Sometimes I wipe it like this. I wipe the brush off and it leaves some paint behind. And then get just a little bit of light orange and mix that in with one of the yellows. Turns it a little darker. And then let's do another yellow. Remember, if you're watching this video at home, you can just push pause as many times as you want to get your colors the way you want them. Just pause me. Another yellow with a little green. As you know, grapefruit have a little bit of green, and then a little bit of, let's do another yellow with I'm gonna try a little bit of this, my favorite fuchsia color. See if that gives us a little bit of a pinkish yellow. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, now for a good pink for that grapefruit. It's kind of red, it's kind of orange. I'm just gonna have to try some things. So a little red. I'm gonna do this darker orange. Oh yeah, you want some fuchsia? Okay, and now I'm gonna try adding a little white, actually. Let's see what that does. Where were we? Right here. Yeah, I think that might be a good color for the grapefruit. for the base, and then we'll add a little bit more color in. Okay, so let's do a wash on the whole grapefruit in the background. Just water, being really careful to avoid the cut piece. Okay, and then I'm actually gonna put a little bit of white in there because I want some soft yellow, and I'm just gonna mix it right on the paper. Your foot's getting pretty close to me over here. What are you doing? Okay, yellow. It's pretty good. There's some puddles I'm gonna pull out with a dry brush because now I want to put in darker yellow. And wait, I don't want to add very much water to this. I just want it to be paint, so I'm drying my brush off in between. I'm gonna do a little darker yellow, and I want the very outside edge of this to also be darker yellow to just show the thin skin like this. I should use my smaller brush right now, I think. I really should. But this is working okay. Okay, and then down here is just this little glimpse of the skin. So that's all yellow right now. Okay, now I'm gonna do just a little bit of green up here. And a little around here. And now with a small brush, let's do some pink. So just these little sections here are going to be pink. How you doing, Viv? There's a lot of white in between the pink and the outside peel, so make sure to leave room there. You're adding white? Okay. Okay. Okay, be careful not to touch the yellow. I left some space between some of these, and some of these are touching. So I think that's kind of how it naturally occurs in a grapefruit. And now I think this might be a little too pink. I'm just gonna try and mix in a little bit of this yellow. Let's see what happens. Vivian, you don't have to whisper, honey. And now I think what it really needs is a little tiny bit of reddish orange. Like just the tiniest bit. Or maybe more. I kind of like that color there. It's mixing with pink to make kind of a ruby red grapefruit sort of color. Oh, nice. Do you want me to show it on the camera? Yeah? Okay. Okay, here's Vivian's. Grapefruit, looking good. You know what we haven't done yet, Vivian, that you could add is a little stem. I'm gonna wait for mine to dry, but I'm gonna put it right up here. It's gonna be not a stem, but the, you know, the spot on an orange or citrus fruit where the stem has broken off. So choose a place on there that's dry so that it doesn't bleed or run. Okay, I have some puddles here that I have to deal with before I can do anything else. So I'm gonna soak some of this back up with a dry brush and a sponge. Oh yeah, and I wanted to add just a little bit of pink to the grapefruit. Some really kind of rosy spots. Just a little. I want something that's just a little bit more orange. Okay, now I think that it's ready for a little stem. I'm gonna dry it off right here. Make a little highlight and just put a, oh no, not dry. Not ready. So instead, with a mostly dry brush, I'm gonna blend a little bit of this pink around. Switching to this brush that's not quite as floppy. I just want a little bit of pink around floppy. Still want those edges to be very hard, and I also don't want it to be perfectly white back there. Because there is white in a grapefruit, but it's not quite this white. So some lighter pink going down in here, using just the teeniest bit of water to blend it and bring some of that color out. I think it looks a little nicer. And it'll dry pretty light too. Speaking of drying, I was very hard on myself for this dandelion. And while I still don't love it, I like it a lot better now that it's dry. And I like it at a bit of a distance also. So, my lesson here is don't be so hard on yourself. It's all about learning and trying things and seeing what works and figuring out what really doesn't work. And it's great. Okay, I want a tiny bit of green down here. It's not showing up very well. Okay, when this is dry, I'm going to use just a little bit of brown, and I'm gonna make kind of like a U shape here, just the little hint of where the stem used to be. And I'm also gonna use a yellow or a yellowish orange that's just a little bit darker to make this line right here where this cut piece is on top of the whole grapefruit. To make that just a little more defined. I'm just gonna make it a little bit darker back there. And that's it. G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. H is next. Ooh, H is huckleberries. See you next time for huckleberries.